I found the timing of Anastasia Palaszczuk's election call quite interesting, as I've previously said, because the federal leader of One Nation, Pauline Hanson, is OS with a delegation of federal parliamentarians until the weekend. So she will actually miss a quarter of the campaign time. Don't tell me that that wasn't part of the decision-making process for Anastasia Palaszczuk and her advisors. It's a bit cowardly, don't you think? 131873. Senator Pauline Hanson, we have found in India. Senator Pauline Hanson, come in.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm very well. We've got a scratchy line, but I can hear you pretty well. What are you doing in India?
Well, I came over with the delegation. There's 4 other members with me, one Liberal, one National Party, Albanese. He's here as well. And the President couldn't come because of the High Court decision, so he should be here as well. And Labor, so Liberal, Labor, National, 2 Labor. So it's a delegation to India. It's actually quite full on. We're visiting the High Commissioner of Australia today. We're actually going to talk to the police and the anti-terrorism squad officers. We're going to a charity eye hospital. We're meeting both the upper and lower house parliamentarians plus governors of the state and also Australian businesses over here. And we went last night to do with the exchange student program. So it's quite a full-on trip.
However, as it's turned out, you'll miss a quarter of the Queensland election campaign. Do you find the timing questionable?
Funny you asked that question. I said to one of the Labor members here yesterday, I said, did you tell Anastasia I was coming? And he didn't say anything. And I think it's all part and parcel of it. I think that the High Court decision was handed down with Malcolm Roberts being, disqualified from Parliament. I think my leaving the country, she told us all time and time again, there will not be an election until next year. So it does make it a little bit hard, but I do have my parliamentary duties. But I'll get back to Chris, and I'll be full on with helping the state leader, Steve Dixon. But Chris, don't forget, I have actually been a member for Queensland now for nearly a year and a half. I've worked that state extensively.
Yeah.
I've travelled around quite a lot, so I've got a lot done for the state. With the Singaporean buying up of the land, I saved the farmers there, the cane growers. So the medicinal cannabis. So there's been a lot of things I've been instrumental in actually bringing about Queensland.
Well, we've got the Queensland election we asked for. You've parachuted Malcolm Roberts to contest for One Nation in the seat of Ipswich. How do you think he'll go?
I think he'll do quite well. Actually, that was my heartland. That's where I actually had my shop. We had our business. I was the member for Oxley in the seat of Ipswich. So people are fed up with the major political parties. It's been a Labor stronghold. It only went to the Libs in the last election when Campbell Newman won, only for one term. But Ipswich is it's very hard there. Lack of work. We used to be an industry township. We produced. We had factories. We did train building, railway workshops. Industries, it's all gone. It's extremely hard in Ipswich, but I think people want change. That Anastasia Palaszczuk hasn't produced for Queensland. I don't think she's got any idea, and she's just flying by the seat of her pants. The LNP, I believe, are no better either. I think what we want to see is Queensland to go ahead. Like, they've both knocked back Great Pickle Island. That's a resort there to employ 1,500 people. We want to open up ports for cans, so dredge that so we can get the cruise ships in. We don't want sales. And the biggest thing, Chris, is our electricity. That's been driven because the government owns the infrastructure.
Yep.
And Queenslanders have been ripped off by $1.466 billion in money out of their pockets that goes to the Queensland state government.
Okay, so when push comes to shove, and you've got to be part of any kind of preference deal, not necessarily across the board, but for certain crucial seats, will the preference deal be with the LNP or the ALP?
No, as far as I'm concerned, every sitting member at the stage is going last.
Right.
I will talk to Steve Dixon when I get back, when we see what nominations are there. And At the end of the day, the preferences do belong to the voter, not the political party. So people choose for the preferences where they choose. But we will be indicating to people at this stage, I owe nothing to any of them.